talk. So, Montreal will be in the CONCACAF Champions League starting this February, and Thierry Henry will be the man on the bench. Yes, his first match in charge will be in the CONCACAF Champions League, a tough place for MLS clubs. So, as a Montreal fan, let's go over the things that some are worried about surrounding Henry and the reasons to be optimistic about his potential success with Montreal. We've got to look at both sides of the coin in order to be fair here. Let's get through the bad and then finish off with the good. First off, European coaches don't fare too well in MLS, at least if we use the MLS Cup champions as the litmus test. Thomas Rongen is one of the only European-born coaches to have won the MLS Cup, and I mean, you'll know him as an analyst now. The guy moved to the USA in 1979 when he was about 24 or so, and hasn't left since. He came through the US football system, has never played or coached outside of North America since then. Not sure if he really counts, but we'll count him. Same goes with Frank Yallop, born in England, grew up in Canada, won a couple cups with San Jose. Peter Novak is one of the few examples of a European coach succeeding in the MLS, as he won the MLS Cup with DC United in 2004. He's without a doubt the most successful European, as he had 3 great seasons with DC from 2004 to 2006. As I said, he won the MLS Cup, won the Supporter Shield, etc. Montreal has tried out European coaches on a couple of occasions already. First, there was Marco Schallibaum from Switzerland, who came in after... Don't make me say it.
Es ist nicht ein Freundschaftsspiel. Ja? Es ist ein Champions League Spiel.
Schallibaum had his issues. I personally liked him though, and he was sacked after a season with a 39% win percentage. Sadly, the second highest win percentage of all of our managers. The second European was, of course, Rémi Garde. He definitely divided opinions, as did his sacking this past season. But he had the highest win percentage of all of our managers so far. Unfortunately for him, a terrible winless streak cost him his job. The team couldn't defend under him. As things stand, the 2 Europeans had the best winning percentages, but Mauro Biello from Montreal is the only coach of the Impact to have finished with more wins than losses. Now, back to Thierry Henry and his credentials. Unfortunately for him, at this point, we don't have much to judge him on besides his time at Monaco. When hiring someone and looking at their only other managerial job, you can't look at Monaco and say it was a positive experience for him. In almost every department, Monaco struggled under Henry. Compared to Jardim before him, their goals per game were down, as they only managed to score more than twice on 2 occasions under Henry, scoring just 9 goals in 12 Ligue 1 matches. Defensively, they regressed a bit as well, conceding 21 goals in 12 Ligue 1 matches as well. Plus, you add in the fact that the club replaced him with the man that he had replaced, Leonardo Jardim. That's a really weird scenario, and the optics of that aren't great. You can look at it as either things were so bad that they'd rather go back to the guy they had originally fired, or perhaps the more accurate analysis of it would be that Monaco has been run so poorly by Oleg Petrov and Vadim Vasilyev before him that Henry may have been doomed to fail from the beginning. Just look at how things have gone since Henry left Monaco back in January. Jardim improved things marginally, finishing just 2 points above the relegation playoff by the time the 2018-19 season had come to a close. And this season, there has been a slight improvement in Monaco. As of the November 2019 international break, they're currently 11th with 4 points separating them from second place, Marseille. It's tight in Ligue 1 right now. Now, beyond the results, there were many questions about his attitude at the club. Rumors of him publicly embarrassing young players that look up to him. You know, there was the chair incident, berating players in the locker room, where it was rumored, keyword being rumored, that the locker room atmosphere was quite tense and toxic due to his lack of patience with the squad. French publications often criticized him for his demeanor on the sidelines. Basically, there weren't many positives from that experience, something that I'm sure Henry himself would tell you. And with that, I think it's a good time to segue into the reasons to be optimistic. Monaco had a major injury crisis, and he was forced to bring in a lot of youth team players, as at one point, there were 15 first team players out with injury, some of them being important players such as Ronnie Lopes. As players would return, others would get injured, and he consistently had at least 12 players unavailable to him at any one time throughout his tenure. That is an extremely tough situation to be dropped into, and an extremely tough situation as a first-time manager. And he perhaps, in hindsight, may wish that he had skipped that job, given his inexperience at the time. So, how much weight should we really put on his 3-ish month stint with Monaco? I'm not so sure. One thing is for certain, he will have hopefully learned a lot when it comes to how to deal with the players, how he will act in the public eye, etc. Speaking of players, as far as recruitment goes, hopefully more will be interested in coming to Montreal with Henry as the coach. He had glowing reviews from the Belgian national team squad, so hopefully prospective signings read more into those reviews than those of the Monaco players. Another thing, he's very familiar with this league. He spent 3.5 years with the New York Red Bulls starting back in July of 2010, the halfway point of the season, and retiring at the end of the 2014 season. That's plenty of time to get an understanding of how the league works. Everything from salary caps, designated players, targeted allocation money, all of these complicated things that most European managers come into the league not fully understanding. He already knows what they are. He already gets it. On top of that, like Gard in the past, Thierry Henry will have no problems adapting to the city as a French speaker, something that has become a requirement of the Impact's recent hiring since Jesse Marsch left, besides interim manager Wilmer Cabrera, of course. Now, here's another major positive. Henry apparently wanted the job to begin with, and actually sought it out himself. According to legendary Montreal sports journalist Tony Marinaro, Henry himself reached out to Impact president Kevin Gilmore. Here's Marinaro's tweet, and by the way, Olivier Renard is our sporting director. President of Montreal Impact, Kevin Gilmore, just told me at TSN 690 that it was Thierry Henry who contacted Olivier Renard and told him he wanted to coach in MLS and specifically coach Montreal. He added that Henry was the only coach he and Renard interviewed. Marinaro later tweeted that he had asked Gilmore if they had discussed Henry's time at Monaco, to which Gilmore replied, "We asked, he answered, and we're happy with that answer." So that in itself, Henry's desire to come and coach in Montreal is a massive plus. This isn't someone that we had to chase down and fully convince to take on the project of coaching Montreal, because let's be honest, it is a bona fide project to take on in this Montreal team. It's not going to be easy. We certainly have a decent core of players in Taider, Piatti, Segna, unless he leaves, and you could throw Boyan in there as well, but the squad needs a lot of work. Quick side note, Thierry Henry actually assisted Boyan's first ever goal at Camp Nou, so it's pretty crazy that he's coaching him now. Anyways, pessimists would say that this project makes for the same sort of outcome that Henry had at Monaco, having to work with a squad that needs to be fleshed out, having to work with players that won't be the elite in the league, and that could frustrate Henry to no end. But for optimists, and I'm definitely on the optimist side of things right now, Henry knows what he is inheriting, and he knows what the standard is in the MLS already. Sure, there were rumors of his own frustrations with his teammates while he was in New York. There's that legendary Jimmy Conrad interview, shout out to Jimmy Conrad. But would Henry really, with all that he learned at Monaco and with his previous experience in MLS, would he come to Montreal with a similar expectation and approach to that of Monaco? I personally don't think so. I personally like this fit, or at least I'm extremely interested to see how it goes. He has a lot to prove after his stint with Monaco, and if it doesn't work for him in Montreal, then it'll be an interesting conversation to see what he does next in regards to his coaching career. So to me, this sort of shapes up to be either the perfect stepping stone for him and a perfect fit for both him and Montreal, or another unfortunate misstep. But I'm optimistic with this appointment. It will certainly bring in more ticket sales, something that has been a downward trend in Montreal, I think, since Drogba left. That's always a good thing, and I think that maybe, just maybe, he could be to Montreal what Patrick Vieira was to NYCFC. Regardless, it's going to be very fun to take in. The first jersey that I bought that had a name on the back was a Thierry Henry jersey. So for me, it's going to be crazy to see him walking up and down the touchline. But anyways, guys, I'm very interested to hear what you think of this. Was this a good signing for the Montreal Impact? Was it a poor signing for the Montreal Impact? Is he going to do way better than he did at Monaco, or is it going to be more of the same? Thank you for watching. I'm Adrian. A like is always appreciated. Subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.